What's going on, everybody? Thursday skill day at JEDIOSHI. Thanks for tuning in. I would ask you to like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and let's get busy with some content today. We're going to learn a little bit about continuation patterns. Pretty exciting, right? Really exciting. But first, let's do a little market update. We had a sell-off overnight. It did correspond with equities, so no surprise. Once again, equities are correlated. Let's look at this low time frame 5-minute chart on S&P. Look how we close this gap back here, guys. Is that it? We'll see. Right now, we are just playing pinball in the fib channel. I call it fib channel pinball. So from the top to the bottom here, came up, kissed the 618 twice, double top, rejected, down to 236, bounce. Now we came down, closed this gap, and we'll see what happens. And honestly, it's kind of like one of these things, right? Where it's above 618, bullish, below 236, bearish. That's kind of how I see it. But I hate to say up, down, or sideways, but unfortunately, that's kind of where we are with both equities and Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. I did paint this out for you guys in the Telegram. We could come down as far as the top of 1 here with a 4. Could be a bigger ABC before we kind of move up. And then we might paint a 5 here for an A leg. That's just one scenario. We have, a few scenarios. Let's see if I can find the fractal pattern. Here it is. Another scenario is we could follow the fractal and fall down to as low as, say, 36K. And then we move up, or this would be an ABC also, and to follow the fractal, which would be interesting, right? So, this ABC down to the top of this level might be in play. This level here might be in play, or we could hold this and move up. So, we'll have to see. I'm not your market predictor, and I don't want to be. I really don't like predicting. I do really like taking signals, and that's where I feel I do my best, is in market signals. And then in bigger picture, though, I do have theories and thesis on. I do think equities are going to blow off. I do think this is a bull market correction in equities, and I also do think that Bitcoin gets a retrace back to 702 at some point, right? And along the way, if we can find a tradable top that looks good, if we say we can get 5 waves in this, say this turns around, either from here or from 39, 5-ish, say. If we paint 5 waves and we have chart breakdown and we have maybe some alt separation, I'd be looking to secure that. And then in plans, all on market weakness, right? So we get breakdowns in the chart. We can obviously spot 5 waves. We're probably at some support resistance level. We have confluence of indicators, right? So this wasn't meant to be a long market update. We're going to get into chart patterns today. But just, what I'm watching on the Bitcoin chart, the fall off last night was corresponding with equities, and we fell down here to this level. Do we go to 36? Do we come down here to 39, or do we find a floor here and start moving up? The S&P gap is closed now. We may very well just move up. So I don't know, 33, 33, 33, 3-sided coin, flip it. We'll see. But that's enough of that. One last note on SHIB last night. Unfortunately, it was getting exciting. I think at about 1 a.m. Central. SHIB hit 32.50 and honestly looked like it was on its way. Unfortunately, the market took it down. And that's what you see with alts all the time. Alts do not run when Bitcoin's falling. Alts only run when Bitcoin's up or flat, consolidating. Historically. Or maybe 99% of the time. Or maybe 1% of the time where it doesn't. So that's why we watch Bitcoin so much, is because it is the king, and it makes everything else work. So let's get into educational content. Thursday skill day. One thing that you can learn to be a better analyst, be a better trader, is to learn some chart patterns. So we had a small poll last night. Thanks for participating. We decided to cover continuation patterns. So let me just set this up. But a continuation pattern is a pattern that you'll see emerge when the trend continues. So you're in a trend, then you form a pattern, and then the trend continues. So what do those look like? What do you want to look out for? What to spot with your eye and in your charts as we get into it. So a couple of keynotes on continuation patterns before we kind of look at some of the little chalk charts. But these are not hard and fast all the time. That's why, you know, for me, like I said, I like to rely more on a system of indicators and signals than just all-in continuation patterns, although it's another tool in the toolbox. You know, we talked about waves being a tool in the toolbox yesterday on the live stream, right? And some other things, you know, like everything's a tool in the toolbox, and they help to paint the picture of what you think is most likely to happen. You know, give you a high probability setup, a high probability trade. You look for signals and setups, and you look for MA crossovers. We talked about that yesterday. MA crossovers, RSI, OBV, and maybe MACD, and then to kind of help you confirm maybe a trend reversal. And then you also have things like this, which is a continuation pattern. But the thing is that they usually indicate that a sideways price action on the chart is nothing more than a pause in the prevailing trend, and that the next move will be in the same direction as the trend that preceded. So basically, if you're bullish, then you form a pattern, then more likely than not, and usually if you form this pattern, you'll continue trend. Same with, you know, a bearish trend, a downtrend. You downtrend into a continuation pattern, usually and more likely you will downtrend out of it. So the other thing to know is that this is continuation patterns now versus reversal patterns, but continuation patterns are usually shorter in time. When you do a reversal pattern, usually takes a longer time. You know, think about like a big ship in the sea. You know, the longer and the bigger trend that you have, the more energy it takes to stop the trend, to stop momentum, to actually turn it around and to go the other way. That's why a lot of times, especially on higher time frames, you'll see an uptrend go into sideways before down, or a downtrend go, say, make a big double bottom or something, a higher low, and then finally reverse. But what you need to know today is that continuation patterns are usually shorter. So you'll say you're in a long-term corrective period. You'll come down a short time period for a pattern, and then you keep going. We'll get into reversal patterns another time, but you know, what I put in here is the word usually is an important note. Triangles, and this is kind of the classification. We'll look at this class of triangles. They're usually continuation patterns, but sometimes they do act as reversal patterns. So even the head and shoulders pattern will on occasion be seen as a consolidation pattern. So good to know, these are not hard and fast rules. They point you in the direction of more often than not this happens, but they are not the end all be all. Good to know. Okay, this is thank you internet. I just plucked this from the internet, and you know, I'm showing it to you here. So this is a list of bullish continuation patterns. Let's go with like the top row and the bottom row. We can kind of ignore. We'll focus in on the middle. But for bullish continuation patterns, you have cup and handle, ascending triangle, stock in a box. Okay, so cup and handle. You know, we saw that with Litecoin. I think on the really high time frame, maybe the weekly chart over 1 or 3 or 4 years. So the bigger this pattern, the more weight it has, I would say. But again, look, so on this top row, cup and handle, ascending triangle, stock in a box. Really what you're dealing with here is you're breaking a resistance level. we talked about this last week in trends, is that support resistance, you break it, you can confirm new support, and you can go. So you have cup and handle patterns. Ascending triangle, that was like Ethereum in 2017, right before the final top. If you go back and look at Ethereum, it painted an ascending triangle for, I think it was a few weeks. It was quite a while. Stock in a box, this is more of just sideways. But what I wanted to focus on are these three. So if you take nothing away from this, other than these three patterns, let's look at these. These are what I would say are the most common continuation patterns. The bull pennant, bull flag, and bull wedge. Okay, so what are the differences? Now the pennant has, it's basically like a triangle on a stick, right? So it's a pointed flag, if you will. This is the important part. The top line slopes downward and the bottom line slopes up, right? So let's look at the bull flag. This would be like a standard flag of a nation or whatever, a standard rectangle flag on a pole. Now you have two parallel lines. In a bull wedge, you have the top line and the bottom line both sloping downwards. This is more like a falling wedge pattern. And we see that. Falling wedge. So again, your trend comes into the flag, the pattern. This is a pennant, that's a flag, that's a wedge. So a pennant has the top line sloping down, the bottom line sloping up. So in a pennant, your support, really these are dynamic trend lines, support resistance, right? So that would be resistance, resistance, resistance. This is support, support, support. And so the pennant has different slopes. Bull flag is parallel, and the bull wedge has both lines sloping downwards. Now here's the thing I was thinking about. How do you know which one you have? Well, you don't until you paint it. The bull pennant, let's look at both the bull pennant and the flag, and really we can do the wedge too. But the bull pennant, you have a rising price into a resistance level. It has a rejection. These are all the same. Okay? Then the bull pennant, you make a lower high, and then you come down and make a higher low. See, in the bull flag, you make a lower high, then you make a lower low. In the bull wedge, you make a lower high and a lower low. But then, as it goes on, you just have a series of differences. And so you can paint either one. Like for example, bull pennant, that's what we were looking at Chev yesterday, right? Is that, and I called it a flag, and I even did it in the video, but it's not a flag. A flag is the parallel lines. Something I had to remind myself of today, looking at this. So those are the three, but you come into it, you paint the pennant, you paint the flag, or you paint the wedge, and you come out of it. I'm not going to get into targets for these, but that is something else that we could cover. On the bearish side, it's really just the opposite. Flip everything upside down. So see these top lines, it's really, you're just breaking support, either in a cup and handle or a triangle or from sideways. On here in the pennant, again, you have the top line would be sloping downwards. The bottom line here would be sloping upwards. In the bear flag, both lines are parallel. And in the rising wedge, it's like a bearish rising wedge. As you come down, you paint this, and we saw this quite a bit. You see this quite a bit in crypto, the rising and falling wedge. So that's about it for the patterns. I would say again, the most important or the most common patterns are the bullish flag, the bullish pennant, and the falling wedge. Then you have a bearish flag, bearish pennant, and bearish rising wedge. So that's about it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty short video. These are the most common patterns. There are details around them. We're not going to get into that here. As I'm building content, we're going to get more in depth on, the details of these patterns. But this is the basics. This is what you need to see. And what I wanted to do was, let's just go back and look at the Ethereum chart, because I wanted to show you, well, I guess I could show you that. I didn't really have a plan. I want to show you at least this ascending triangle, and then let's look for other patterns on the Ethereum chart. Might be kind of fun. So let me take that off. Let me reset my chart here, and then go to. Let's go to. This is the S&P. Let's go to. And we haven't looked at Ethereum. I don't think ever really. So this is the daily Ethereum chart, and if I can, this is Coinbase, so it should have all the data. This was okay, and you're just kind of eyeballing it, right? So as you I'm seeing a couple things here, but as you look at the chart and you start identifying pennants and flags and such, I'm just looking for that period of time that was a rising a triangle here. So I think it was here. It's a little sloppy. It's not super crisp, but I think this is the one I'm thinking about. Okay, this long period of consolidation and until you blew off. So you ran up here in say June of 17, and it took it until November until it broke out. See breakout, come back, retest the top side, and then you're off. Within these, you can just start. I mean, like that's why I do a lot of these lines and stuff, and that kind of thing. But you have, let's see, call that a rising wedge. Does that look like a rising wedge? And I don't know if I grab all of this, but let's say from the body. So you came down into this. What would this be? Bullish rising wedge. Came up. Break down you go. So, you can do that. But again, those are the most common, and those are the things to spot. And that's all I had for you today. So enjoy the video. Please, again, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Please share JEDIOSHI, what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people learn to read charts, and we're thinking for ourselves. So enjoy your Thursday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.